Hey Thermomixers, remember earlier in the week when I bought this enormous head of garlic? Today I'm going to use it. So I've decided I'm going to make some toum. Now there are a few toum recipes on Cookie Do, however I want to trial the recipe that I've always used and it's just in my head, so I'm just winging it today. If you want the recipe afterwards, let me know and then I will type it into the comments for you, but if no one asks, I'm not going to bother. So, and you might also be able to just follow along anyway. So I'm really excited to use my enormous head of garlic. I've just weighed it and it's 738 grams. That's 3/4 of a kilo. So here we are. Now it needs using. You can see that it's, I want to get to use this before it begins to spoil. This clove is as big as a lemon. bigger than a lemon. Anyway, I'll stop talking about my garlic clove and let's make some toum. Okay, so to start, normally what I do is have normal sized garlic cloves and I like to put them in the freezer for a little while. Now I haven't put this into the freezer, but it has been in the fridge, so it is cool and we'll just see how we go with it. So I'm going to chop this down to sort of rough, normal clove size. And then we're going to start the process by adding, the recipe usually calls for kosher salt. I'm just going to use some coarse sea salt. And the coarseness of that salt seems to break down beautifully the garlic. Now, if you happen to have some green in the center, this one doesn't, but if you've got a green sprout growing, then you remove that. Otherwise, it might make your final product a little bit tart and a bit strong, and sometimes it can be a bit bitey and not all that pleasant. So that's a little trick there. I don't seem to have one here. I'm going to use 2 cloves, I think. I'm just going to quickly prepare this one and then we'll move on. Okay, so I've prepared my garlic cloves and I've just popped them in, and now I'm going to put in my coarse salt to really grind that up, the cloves. I'm just going to put about 1.5 tablespoons in there, pop on the lid and give it a blend. So I think I've got about 300 grams of garlic in there. So I'm going into manual mode here. I'm going to probably pulse it a bit. So I'm going to give it about, let's say 10 seconds, but I'm going to intermittently press pause, and let's do this on speed 9.5. Just pop my little lid on. I don't always use my lid, by the way, unless it's necessary. My little cap. Okay, let's see how far that's got us so far. So you can already see that it's grinding up beautifully. That's probably only, I don't know, the equivalent of about 1 second or 1.5 seconds. I'm just going to scrape down the sides and then let's continue that. Okay, so I'm just scraping the sides here. Like so. Make sure all of that garlic is in the bottom. You can already see it's quite white, obviously, but also beginning to get nice and pasty. And that's only garlic and salt in there. I'm going to continue this pulsing. Until I can hear that there's no more pieces. You don't want to overwork this too early. It's a bit of a delicate recipe. Much easier with a Thermomix. Okay, so that's a little bit finer now. So for those that don't know, the word toum, T-O-U-M, in Arabic simply means garlic. And this is pretty much all that's in this recipe. So toum is an emulsification. So it's an emulsion, I should say. And so when we emulsify, it means that we're gradually blending in oil with an acid. So what you need to do is use an oil that is not pungent. So I would not recommend using olive oil. I would recommend using something like grapeseed. I've also got a little bit of vegetable oil, which I don't love using, but I have bought it especially for this recipe. And so what we're going to do now, in the top of your Thermomix, in the lid, there are some small holes, and they are perfect for emulsifying. You can't actually see very well what's happening in there, so it means while we're on manual mode, we might just continue to stop and check to see how our toum is going. So what I'm going to do is start slightly lower at about speed 8, and I'm going to add a few more seconds on. So I've just added 30 there, so I don't need to keep coming in there. Now I'm going to press start, and I'm going to, right over the top of my machine, get my lemons, and I'm just going to start, squeezing my lemon juice just over the hole, which all then will drain down. Lemon and oil, and lemon and oil, and then I'm going to keep checking. All right, so let's start. Now you just want a steady stream, you don't want to dump a whole lot of oil in there very quickly. Okay, let's have a look-see. So you can see now this is going to need a wipe down, but see how beautifully white this is? Let's turn on a light here. Such a beautiful white emulsion, and we're just going to continue doing the same thing until it forms a really nice, smooth white paste. So it's coming along nicely. You can sort of get a sense of what that texture is like. It's still chunky, so we're certainly not there yet. Having a really powerful blender like the Thermomix, but if you don't have a Thermomix, you can just use something really powerful. Certainly makes this a quick and easy recipe. And I tell you what, this is such a crowd pleaser with my own family and my Greek in-laws. So hopefully it will be for you too. Just let it go in gradually. I'm down to speed 4 now, and I'm just listening, and I'm going to move it up to speed 5. Just listening carefully. Once you've owned a Thermomix for a while, you can really tune into what's happening in the bowl, and you don't even need to look, you just listen. I can tell it's still a little bit chunky. I might just give it speed that up just for a few seconds. Let's have a check. Oh, you might want to wear an apron for this. There's a bit of garlic flying everywhere. See how different that's looking already. So we're in the process now of emulsifying. We've got the acidity of the lemon juice and the garlic with the stable properties of oil. So this is beginning to look better. It's not quite done because in my opinion, it needs to be more stiff. So it needs to go a little further, but that is it's looking pretty beautiful, isn't it? Okay, so what I feel like I need to do now is whip that. So I'm thinking I'm going to pop in the butterfly and just whip that on speed 4 for a few more seconds and then see how that looks. Okay, so I'm popping in my butterfly. Now I'm sure I don't need to remind you, but never go above speed 4 with your butterfly in. Okay, back down to speed 4. Let's go. And I'm going to continue adding the oil. Now, the quantities should be more oil than lemon. Okay, I've finished off my flaxseed. I'm going to open my vegetable oil. And I'll start with this. And you can hear the blade changing the sound. So I can hear that that's getting finer. And what is happening is the oil is whipping up, which is going to give this mixture a little bit more volume. A really good looking toum, in my opinion, is really white and fluffy. Now I can see this oil is quite yellow, so I'm wondering whether it will maintain its whiteness. It's really important just to do it slowly. Give it the time that it needs. Okay, and let's stop and have a little look now. Okay. Oh yeah, that is exactly what I'm talking about. So it's thick. It's almost like the thickness of paste or frosting. And so that is going to be really easy to dip a bicky into, or to put on the side of a piece of protein like lamb, and that'll be lovely. Now another tip is to let this sit. So I wouldn't make this to eat straight away. You need to give it some time for all of those flavors, particularly the garlic, just to calm down, to tone down a little bit, so that it's not too pungent. Sometimes making toum, because garlic is such an acidic vegetable, it's really can be really intense. So just to tone down the intensity, I usually like to serve it the next day or even the day after. But then once it's ready to go, it never lasts long in our house. If you've tried this before, or if you've got other ways that you make toum or other tips, I'd really love to hear them. I'm always open to learning new ways to do things and really willing to give things a try. So I hope that you love this toum dip and that you enjoy this in your house. And if there's anything else you'd like me to do with the rest of this guy, please let me know.